G'day everyone, welcome to Fin Chats. My name is Hoi,
And my name is Hugh.
and today we have a very exciting topic. We're going to talk about the CFA program. So we've got Hugh, who's actually doing it at the moment, that will answer all my dumb questions. So, um, Hugh, what is the CFA program?
Yeah, sure, Hoy. I think to really encapsulate it, it is a three-part test. So they're characterized by levels, so level one, two, and three. And essentially what it tests is, foundations of investment research. So anything to do with stocks, bonds, how to construct portfolios, the use of derivatives in portfolios, etc. It's all sort of condensed into a program and three different levels that we can touch on in further detail.
And what is actually, pardon my ignorance, what is the CFA stand for actually?
Yeah, sorry. So CFA stands for the Chartered Financial Analyst.
Right,
So
right.
that's sort of the designation that you can use after completing all three levels. So what you can do on your LinkedIn or social media profile is you can actually put a comma after your name and put CFA there. So it's an accreditation for Chartered Financial Analyst. Mhm.
Ah, right. So it's kind of more like the finance equivalent of the CPA, the
Yeah,
for accounting,
exactly.
right? Right, right,
Yes, that's how I like to sort of explain it to non-investment folks. So they might have heard of CA or CPA,
right,
more accounting side, but yes, this is more investment and finance per se.
right. So you
Yeah,
touch a little bit about what the um, CFA program involves. What can you
yeah.
talk a little bit about, a little more about what you're going to learn and why somebody might want to consider it?
Yeah, sure. So, what it essentially entails, the topics, is a few different areas. So, how the CFA Institute, which is the body that looks after the program, like to split it into sort of three sections. So, one is called investment tools. So, these are the sort of skills that you need when you're doing some sort of investment research on perhaps a stock or a bond. So under the tools section that the CFA has, the first one is quantitative methods. So that's everything to do with, um, statistics and how to read the significance of certain regressions that you might do. So that might sound a bit complicated, but I promise it doesn't go to the same rigor as a full statistics degree. It's really the implementation of, stats and basic math to finance. And then the other tools are economics and financial statement analysis. So that's things like how to read a balance sheet, an income statement, and draw an idea of where a business is sitting or what their financial position is like. And then the other two sections is on asset classes. So that's a huge sort of component for the CFA. So you'll learn more about equity investments, which is stocks, and then fixed income, bonds, alternative investments, which includes anything not within those other two asset classes. So, private equity, private real estate, commodities, etc., and also derivatives. So that those four are components of the assets component. And then the last one is on portfolio management. So really, how do you use all those tools and those asset classes together to build a portfolio um, in a risk adjusted manner or with some sort of risk awareness? So that's really what the CFA is in a nutshell. And over the levels, you sort of progress into more valuation work at level two. And then level three is more portfolio management. But we'll touch upon those in our future videos. But to your point on why would you even do a CFA? You might have done like a finance degree where you've learned a lot of these concepts. I think if you have two sort of groups, those who are or have done a finance degree at uni, why would you do it? I think it might help with job opportunities. So you might be a finance grad, but you haven't had any experience within finance, and you're trying to make that jump into investment. So this is a really powerful designation that can get your foot in the door. Whether you pass level 1 or 2, it'll show prospective employers that you do have that rigor of knowledge sufficient enough to do the job. Obviously, you still have to do well in the interviews and whatnot, but it's a good first step.
I mean,
And then yeah,
what you mentioned is like seems very intensive, right?
yeah,
It doesn't sound like a walk in a park.
yeah.
How like if someone was considering this CFA program, how much time realistically, say if you're working part time, I'm assuming
Mhm.
most people do it part time, right? Would it take you to, study? And how do you actually study for it anyway? Is it do you go to classroom? Do you go to, yeah.
Sure. So in terms of the hours, it obviously really depends on sort of your level of knowledge already and your IQ. But the CFA Institute has put a number of around 300 hours. It will
Whoa,
kind of
okay.
job. Now that is actually apparently on the low line. A lot of candidates are pushing 400 plus hours of study.
Wow.
So you do have to allocate that over, let's say, a 6 month study period, and then you would divvy it up per month. Mhm.
Wow. So if I do the mental arithmetic now, did you say assume 400 hours over 6 months? So 1 month divided by 400 divided by six is what? Just under 100
60
hours.
to 70 hours a month. Yeah,
That's quite a lot. That's
it is.
when you're studying full time, the CFA full time, it may not be a lot, but I guess people have lives and full time jobs, etc. But from what I can gather, it is well worth the effort, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
So
know.
just on your point on, sorry, just on how do you study it? It is self-study. You don't need to go to like a classroom or whatever. And I think that's another really hard aspect of it. It's hard to keep accountable to your study schedule. You know, when you're in uni, you'd always have midterm assignments and teacher to
Yeah.
make sure you're up to scratch, but this is all self-study. Mhm.
Okay, so a lot of discipline then, right?
Correct. Yes.
So how do you actually sit for the exam? What if it's self-study?
Yeah.
Um, Actually, where do you go to do your exam? Do you do it online? Do you go to a center?
Yeah. So you go to a test center, and a important point is that it's all computer based. You still need to attend a center. So in Sydney, it's like one in North Sydney, and there's just a bunch of computers. But yes, you do need to attend it in person. And yeah, they do have strict sort of like identification requirements and whatnot. It's computer based.
And it's every 6 months, I think you mentioned, right? So if for whatever reason you missed the exam, you didn't pass the exam, you can always retake that, I assume, every 6 months?
Yeah, so for level 1 specifically, it's actually held 4 times a year, but
Right,
you cannot do if say you fail, you can't just do the next window. You have to wait the next one after that, which is a 6 month period.
right,
So it's 6 months in the event that you do not pass the exam. Yeah.
right. And I know that you're currently what they call a CFA candidate, if that's the right term, meaning that you are currently studying for the CFA, right?
Yes.
What has your personal experience been? I mean, you're in the middle of your journey at the moment, I think.
Maybe at the end, I'd say.
Right,
I'm
right, right.
level 3 at the moment, so yes, I'd call myself a level 3 candidate. Yeah.
Right. And how has your personal experience been? Since you're on level three now, you've obviously passed level one and two. In terms of all the things that we've just discussed, the time, effort, as well as, the reward of passing those things, how has it been for you? And, has it helped you get your jobs?
Yeah, it's a really good question because people want to know like what you can do with it. Yes, for me, I do have a finance background in uni, so level 1 was actually quite straightforward. I, passed that straight away. Level 2 was quite difficult in the sense that I think a lot of people find level 2 quite hard. the breadth of topics that you need to learn is a lot. I think there's around 48 readings, just under 50 readings,
Wow.
and it's heavily valuation based. So you need to know a lot of formulas. You can't bring any books into the exam. And so there's a lot of memorization and application to it.
So
And yes,
valuation, you mean
yeah,
calculating the value of, say, a stock, a bond, a company,
yeah.
the balance sheet,
Mm.
etc., right?
Yes, absolutely. So
Yep.
it's all of the above. Yeah, there's a lot to it. And in terms of like how it's helped me, I mean, I think it's had a positive impact. So, straight out of the uni, I was doing accounting at some like engineering firm. So that was just over a year, and I just really didn't like it and wanted to get my foot in more on the investment side. So I actually already passed level one, and I was studying level two at the time. And then I made a jump over to sort of sales or distribution within the investments industry. So that helped me quite a bit because I saw I had some knowledge in finance and investments and funds management, but I wanted to do more of a research role rather than sales. And again, that job did require or preferred someone who was studying for the CFA. And so
Right.
they saw I was doing level three at the time. I didn't have too much experience in the finance industry, but yes, I've been at this firm for about 6 months now, and that's doing sort of fund manager research, looking at different uh, fund products, etc. So that's been my journey. It's been really, really useful so far. And getting that CFA accreditation at the end would just be icing on the cake, to be fair.
So just one minor point, and then
Yeah.
a final question. You did say fund, FUND product, right? Not fun, FUN product, right?
Yes, fund product. Yes, not fun. I mean, I would caveat and say that a lot of the products I've seen are being quite fun and interesting. So
Oh,
maybe a bit of,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So last question, and you mentioned all the good things that the CFA program provides you, and you mentioned the
Mm.
valuation, and I picked that up as we spoke. But I guess perhaps a lot of our viewers might want to know, does that mean by doing the CFA, you can give us good stock tips?
Uh, yes, actually, but I think with any sort of advice that you see, we do have to say, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. And there is a running joke, online that CFA charter holders can generate better returns than everyone else, superior returns. But, um, in all seriousness, it does give you a holistic overview of the investment space and what you can expect to work in.
Right.
And I think besides the knowledge, there's huge networking and social benefits because it's a globally recognized institute and body. So, if there are societies in every city. So, for example, in Sydney, I'm actually part of the CFA Society Sydney. So
Right.
I'm a volunteer there. So what I do is, engage with universities to promote the CFA brand and program to prospective students because I wanted to share, my experience of what they can do and with it and achieve. So, yes, there's a massive social benefit. If you want to expand your network as well, becoming a member of any CFA society in your local city, I think is a really good opportunity. So, do keep that
That's
in mind.
excellent. That's excellent. I think that's given me a really good overview of the CFA program. Um, for the next video, we'll talk about, the level 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
But for the time being, it's great to have all our viewers tune in. So that's it for now, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you guys. Bye.